Should I hit leave meeting or got it? I'm going to say got it.
I swear to God, if you leave this meeting right now, going to shit my pants. What is today? Okay, welcome to That's Good Broncos, the podcast where Will Keys and I talk about the Denver Broncos, and now we will be doing it for Walmart. We have been purchased by Walmart for 4 Bs. That is bread, biscuits, bulgogi, because we like our Korean barbecue, and
Bolognese.
The 4 Bs of Walmart, all available at the Walmart Marketplace or Walmart Super Centers. So make sure you check out Walmart, as they are our father now.
Walmart, where it's morally ethical to shoplift.
Welcome to Walmart, where you can take a shit in one of the aisles and nobody will notice.
Welcome to Walmart, where not even an employee will clean it up. It's just going to sit there in the aisle.
Welcome to Walmart, where you'll... Yep, that's it. I ran out, Will.
Are you ready for Walmart Stadium at Mile High?
My God, yes. No.
That's one of the things I don't know how many fans would say this, but I really don't care for a new stadium.
Yeah, I mean, everybody likes something nice and new and shiny, but it's not a need. It's not a necessity. Like, the Broncos have a nice stadium.
Yeah.
They just want the whole like complex. They want the Broncos, the Avs, the Nuggets all close together, which is a possibility now if it's all in the Walmart family. They want the experience. And I wouldn't mind that, except for the fact that I never go to games because I'm doing this. So I'll tell you how Wally World could win over the Broncos fans in today's episode, which is actually sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up over at DraftKings, and my personal coffee company, benchwarmerbrew.com. Spoiler, I'm going to have some new mugs coming out in the next couple months. Might be adding some snacks to the bench warmer arsenal, some game day snacks. Not going to be available for a little while, but I'm just telling you, business is booming. Except for all of my profits are just going to go into getting those things on the store. So I will break even, but that's pretty good. They say it's business isn't profitable for 10 years.
Okay, so we've been at it for how many years now?
1.5.
Okay, so we have a scant
8.5
years to go. 2030. That's our big year.
Yeah. I mean, it basically took me that long to figure it out on YouTube, so it makes sense. Okay. So last week we did a mock draft for the Broncos. It took a lot longer than I thought. But like right after the episode, did the Broncos sign Kareem Jackson? Was it like
Yeah, I think like as soon as we hit hang up.
Yeah, as soon as it went live, it's like, oh, here's an actual piece of news I would have liked to talk about. So we're a week late to talk about Kareem Jackson. Rob Walton put in a bid to buy the Broncos. He is the heir to the Walmart fortune. And what else did you put in the rundown, Will?
Well, we've got outside linebacker Malik Reed. He's signed his RFA tender worth $2.4 million. And then, not Broncos news, but Broncos adjacent. The Raiders and Derek Carr have agreed to a 3-year extension worth $121.5 million. That's a lot. That's $40 million a year.
You give Russell Wilson a 10-year billion-dollar deal right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is Mr. Walmart can cut that check. No problem.
That's right. Mr. Walmart could.
He's got a lot of billions. A lot of B's.
Lot of bees, baby.
Or-
Did you see the photo of him with the dogs that I
Yes,
tweeted?
I did. I did. Those are strange looking dogs.
It's a strange looking dogs. It's a strange looking photo. And based on that photo alone, I do not trust him to run an NFL team, Will. I just don't.
Yeah, the dog says a lot about the man, I think. And if you're out there, and let's be real, he didn't rescue those dogs. Um,
No. He paid for their breeding.
yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised if some dogs passed away in the process of acquiring those dogs. But yeah, those are just strange looking pups.
Yeah. I
I've never
mean,
seen them before.
if what you just said is true, I think opening day, we have to try and glue ourselves to the field at Mile High.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can glue yourself to hardwood. Gluing yourself to grass might be, or turf, whatever it is,
I'll just
synthetic.
nail my hand into the ground.
Appropriate timing with Easter around the corner.
Yeah, I'm the Jesus of Broncos fans. Don't forget it. Rob, whatever the fuck your name is.
His name is Samuel Robson Walton.
That's his real name. He goes by Rob Walton.
Yeah, Samuel Robson Walton, aka Rob Walton.
Wow. Why not just Sam or Samuel?
That's not how rich people do it. Rich people, they need their first name to become an initial, and then they go by their middle name, like C. Montgomery Burns. Monty Burns.
Yes.
That's a big move, I think, to make your first name an initial.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's like the only other power play is just to be known by one name, right?
Yeah.
So like Ciara,
Ciara,
boom, power.
Beyonce,
Yeah, Beyonce.
Zendaya,
Yeah. Basically, you got to be also Oprah. You got to be a woman.
Oprah. Like, not a lot of people. I don't know Ciara's last name, but Oprah, you can do both, really, because
Oprah.
Oprah and Oprah Winfrey. Like, it's not weird to say either one.
Yeah. No. Well, I don't know if anybody says, "Hey, there's Winfrey."
No, I mean, you either say Oprah or you can say Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah.
No one says like
just say
Ciara's last name.
Yeah. Prince.
It's Prince's real name.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about the Broncos and the Walmart thing in Monday's episode, and you put a South Park reference in the episode.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I need to find like a clip for from that episode because I don't fucking remember it. I'm like, well, probably not everybody's going to remember it. So I'm like, okay, I found this Walmart clip. And then I just like, I forgot to write a reference of like another evil person. And I just off the top of my head said Oprah during the shoot. And it just so happens that South Park did an episode
Also
on Oprah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, thank God they did, because now I can tag that thing that wasn't even a good joke with an Oprah clip. And then it got me thinking the South Park's kind of like The Simpsons now, where they've covered it. You know what I mean? Like the joke to South Park was people were giving them shit like The Simpsons already, made an episode about this. And like, well, The Simpsons have already made an episode about everything. Like, what the fuck do you want us to do? And South Park's been around long enough where South Park's already made an episode about everything, including Oprah being evil. And well, it was really her vagina was evil, right?
Yeah, her vagina was like pointing a gun at people.
Yeah.
If I remember correct. That might have been the Hillary Clinton episode as well.
It was definitely Oprah had the gun in her vagina. So
yeah,
it saved me. I was like, oh, thank God. I don't know why I said Oprah in that situation, but I have to believe it's because I'm the Jesus of Broncos fans and I was being guided by a higher force.
Yeah, I think this does put Matt Stone and Trey Parker in a little bit of a bind because, maybe they want to do something with the team in the future. Then, I don't know that Rob Walton is even aware of that episode or aware of South Park or aware of, TV in general. It's another rich person thing is probably just doesn't watch TV.
You get so rich, you get something better than TV, and they just haven't shared what that is with us yet.
I remember when I was like a lot younger, and probably the biggest, like, nicest house I've ever been to, just kind of by chance, like through a friend's friend. Show up there, and this guy owns like a car dealership in the area, and his son has like a den or whatever with a massive TV, like something you would see at a sports bar. And then the old guy, who owns the house and made this fortune for himself, is watching TV on like a small, like 12-inch tube TV. I was like, that is the richest thing I've ever seen. Having money for whatever kind of TV you want, and then just watching it on something like everybody else.
Idiot. What a waste.
I know.
What a waste of richness. All right. Rob Walton's super rich, right?
He's got
70 bill. I mean,
yeah. I mean, estimates for his net worth, and net worth is not like I know you know this, but
it's not liquid.
It's not liquid. It is, the totality of your assets.
Yeah.
And I assume he has more in assets than in cash.
Yeah.
But you can liquidate assets, and he can liquidate enough to procure $4 million for this bid, which is double what David Tepper paid for the Carolina Panthers a few years ago.
Yeah.
And Tepper is currently the richest owner. He's worth about 17 million.
Billion.
Billion. Obviously, players are worth more than that. 17 billion. Walton is 60 to 70 billion, in that range. So he would be the richest owner by
a lot.
Just a huge margin. So much so that, if he puts this bid in, everybody's, and the reports are that he did make this bid. So that rules out just about everyone, unless our Lord and Savior Jeff Bezos wants to come in at the last minute and say $5 billion.
Yeah, because he offered more than $4 billion. So is it 4.5, 4.3? We don't really know. The trust has to essentially take the highest bid.
Yeah, it's their obligation.
With Rob Walton coming in going over 4, then yeah, maybe that rules out some of the people who were also previously in play. Don't really know for sure. Doesn't mean like another group can't come up with, more than that amount to make the bid. And even if his bid is the highest, he still has to be approved by the other owners. So then you have to go through that approval process. One question is, do you think a guy that much wealthier than the other owners would make them uncomfortable?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think once you get into, I don't know, I feel like there are brackets of wealth where someone like Rob Walton is in a different stratosphere than even Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
And Rob Walton is one of the 20 richest people on earth. And I don't think that there is like an owner in sports, not even in the NFL, who compares to that.
Yeah. I mean, I think like Jeff Bezos is in a different league just because he's so much wealthier and like the other guys have no chance of ever catching him. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Walton's close enough where I think he can make the others envious.
Yeah. And Bezos, I think he's holding out for the eventual
Football
Daniel
team?
Snyder departure in Washington, because he owns, or Amazon, I guess, owns the Washington Post, which I guess, well, that's going to be weird because, the Washington Post did this deep dive
Nikki Javala.
Nikki Javala and someone else, but it'll be in the news episode about Daniel Snyder keeping 2 books and kind of hoarding funds that are supposed to go into the communal pot in the NFL.
Yeah.
And basically lying and obscuring the numbers. But that would never happen if Jeff Bezos pulled some kind of shenanigans like that, if he was the owner, because he basically also owns the newspaper in town, which feels like a bit of a conflict of interest. But there's nothing you can really do about it.
No, and that's already the standard operation for Washington, because don't they own like 2 of the radio stations that cover the Washington football team? There's already something like, it's not the newspaper, but they control 2 of the media mouthpieces that cover the team there. I know I'm probably butchering it a little bit, but
I think you're probably right. It's a little like North Korea. I think,
some say Washington working for Dan Snyder is worse than living in North Korea. Some have said that, not me, but some.
Kim Jong-un remember when Kim Jong-un killed his uncle with like an artillery gun?
No.
Yeah. He didn't just like normally execute his uncle. He could have just hit him with a firing squad or like lethal injection or hanging. No, he shot him with an anti-artillery gun or anti-aircraft gun.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably next up on the list for Dan Snyder if he hasn't done it already.
Dan Snyder moves to North Korea to live out his lifelong fantasy of killing people for fun.
The funniest thing I think I've heard about Dan Snyder recently was by John Riggins, the old running back. And he was like, Dan Snyder doesn't know anything about football. And like everything he's done in his 2+ decades as owner, the funniest thing and maybe the worst thing is that he just doesn't know anything about football.
Yeah.
How do you become an owner of one of the 32 NFL franchises and not have like a passing knowledge of what's going on in the league?
Yeah.
It's really impressive.
Yeah, very. And that's like what it comes down to, Rob Walton. Like, obviously, my first instinct is I don't want Walmart to own the Broncos. I don't. It seems, man, like if the Broncos are bad and we're the team owned by Walmart, you know how much shit we're going to take on Twitter?
Yes.
The fucking Walmart Broncos, the Denver Walmarts, like it just, don't give them a name they control you with. That's first. Second is, I don't know enough about Rob Walton. I'll give him a chance to prove he wants the team, but he's never even been mentioned as one of the people interested in the team. He's not a known football fan. He's not a known Broncos fan. And you want somebody who's going to be invested in the team, somebody who's going to put in the money to always be competitive and that sort of thing. And maybe he is. His cousin's married to Stan Kroenke. So like owning the sports team is probably been a conversation around whatever weird orgy dinners they have as a family. And if he's competing against his cousin's husband and he sees that, Kroenke and the Rams spend money, that's fine. Sure, we can't watch Nuggets or Avalanche games here because they're too cheap to figure shit out with Comcast. I don't think Kroenke's a good owner, but the Rams just won a Super Bowl. So maybe there's something there. I need to see something that convinces me that he will be a good owner. And right now we just have like no info. Just like he put in the money.
Yeah.
And he put in a bid and I don't think he's like come out and said like why he wants to be an owner or anything like that. Maybe it's a business tactic and maybe he's rich enough where he doesn't think he needs to win over the fans, but that would be a solid move.
He did play college football, small school college football. So he knows a little bit about football. That's, you'd hope so.
Hey, that's a plus.
That's something.
That's a nice plus.
He calls Colorado once
Yeah, I saw
made
that
Colorado's
too.
permanent home. Okay,
That's
I mean that's
Kliss
an easy
giving
thing.
him the old fluff job. He
Yeah.
likes to go
Okay.
hunting. He likes to race cars. He's rich. He can do whatever he
He's a
wants. I would
man's
race cars
man.
too. Yeah.
What corporation would you be okay with essentially owning the team?
Pornhub.
Pornhub.
The biggest butt plug manufacturer in the world.
Is that true?
No, I don't. I'm saying whatever the butt plug manufacturer is, I'd be okay with it. Yeah, I don't know. There's not a good answer to that. That's the joke I was trying to make. Well, it was about like, no, maybe it was a different one, but it's like, I want, at least if it's an evil corporation, I want it to be kind of cool. Like Apple.
Raytheon.
Yeah. You cross us, we will blow up your stadium.
Yeah, just drone Kansas City Stadium out of existence.
Oops.
I think I would be okay with Costco.
Oh, Costco.
Because then you get the really cheap like hot dog, pizza slice. Oh my
god! If they came
concessions
and they made the concessions have what, the $1.50?
Yeah,
hot dogs and $2 slices of pizza or whatever the hell it
That'd
is.
be so sick.
That would be huge.
How do we make that happen?
And they're like a company that notoriously treats its employees very well.
Yeah.
There's like a program to work up through the system. And if you do it, you can make good money and have good benefits.
And that's probably why the owner doesn't have enough money to buy the Broncos.
Yeah, because he takes a salary of like $200,000 a year or something. That was like his whole shtick.
God, that's a shtick.
That's a shtick to me. I'm a good person. That's a shtick. There's no such thing as a truly good person.
That's a gimmick.
That's a gimmick. Yes.
Nice try, pal.
The advantage he would have is the Broncos would always have enough money on hand to
do whatever,
sign whoever they wanted.
Yeah.
If he allows it, right? Like you have to have a certain amount of liquid cash for the guarantees and player contracts. And sometimes, even though when teams have cap space, they can't sign a guy because they don't have the money to do it. If he was willing to use his money to help build the team, then it would be nice. Especially, when it looks like the Broncos are going to be in a window to be very competitive for a while.
Yeah, I mean, remember when they couldn't really sign Justin Simmons because, they didn't really have anyone to sign off on the cash.
Yeah.
Like his money was in escrow for a while.
Yeah.
And that's why that whole situation was so drawn out. So that would not be something we'd have to worry about. And if he wants to build a new stadium, rest assured that he will still make the taxpayers pay for it. So you have that to look forward to.
Well, that would be the way he could win us over, is if he's like, I'm going to pay for the new stadium.
Yeah. I mean, has anyone done that recently?
No. Rich people are rich because they get other people to pay for all their shit.
Yeah.
It's the biggest secret. That's not a secret. We just can't do anything about it.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I'm worried about, I don't want to, every new stadium has a dome on it. And
the Bills aren't going to do it.
That's true. Good for them.
Because they don't want to pay for it.
Yeah. I guess that's like an unintended, benefit.
There might be some sort of dome, but it's going to be open air. So it'll still be cold as hell in there. But
okay.
I think a possibility, but from what I hear, it's open.
Well, I'm anti-dome.
Yeah.
And the Broncos are, Colorado, despite its reputation, almost always has pretty temperate weather on football Sundays.
No, but it's nice that there's, the option for a crazy weather game every now and then.
Yeah. Yeah. Like who doesn't want a fun little snow game every once in a while?
Yeah. It kind of makes especially if your team's not that good, because it kind of evens the playing field.
Yeah, exactly.
By
It's just like one of the things that makes football.
Yeah. You want to know what else makes football, Will?
Yes, I do.
Okay. It's DraftKings Sportsbook. NBA playoffs. They're here. What does that mean? It means next level basketball. So get ready for all the action by betting the play-in tournament with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can bet $5 on any team to win and get $150 in free bets instantly. You clinch no matter what. DraftKings Sportsbook customers, all customers, can also bet on NBA hoops with same-game parlays, combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. Plus, for each day of the play-in, get a risk-free bet up to $10 if your same-game parlay does not hit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. You got to use code DNVR. Bet $5 on any NBA team to win their game, except for who lost last night, Will?
The T-Wolves, I think.
Was it the Wolves? Who's the guy went crazy for beating his old team?
Oh, I don't know.
You're the basketball guy.
I'm not the basketball guy. I just know more than you.
Who's the guy who went nuts last night after beating his old team? Purvis
Ellison?
Purvis Ellison?
No.
Perkins?
Kendrick Perkins? He doesn't play anymore.
Oh my God. It was a huge thing last night. This is embarrassing. Anyway, bet on any team to win the play-in tournament if you want, especially if you're a really huge basketball guy like Will Keys, and then I ask you one basketball question, you don't know the answer to it, and get $150 in free bets instantly. That's promo code DNVR. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting part of the NBA. Got to be 21 or older. Colorado only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Oh yeah, I apologize. The Timberwolves actually won. They came.
Yeah, okay. The T-Wolves beat the Clippers.
Yes, yeah.
And who was the guy who hit the winner to kill him?
I don't know. I didn't watch the game.
Oh my God.
I was watching baseball. I was watching the Rockies.
Okay.
I'm in baseball mode right now. I guess I should be in basketball mode since it's currently the playoffs. But yeah, that one slipped by me. I need multiple TVs. I think I just need
Pat Bev killed him.
Okay.
Patrick Beverly.
Bev.
Right? Patrick
Close
Beverly.
enough. Patrick Beverly. Yeah.
Okay.
A former Clipper, indeed.
Yeah. And everybody was laughing because he was celebrating like he just won the championship. And everyone's like, "Oh, you need to chill a little bit." But he was running around the court like screaming because he beat his old team. Anyway, now we know Will Keys, giant basketball poser.
I can't. Yeah. Pretty much, you're right. Not gonna lie.
I'm gonna know so much more about basketball than you when I finish Winning Time on HBO.
I gave it a chance. Finally, someone gives us something about the Lakers. Poor Lakers fans are feeling so underrepresented recently. I'm cooling off on Adam McKay.
Wow.
Cooling off.
Wow. Will is getting too cool for Adam McKay.
I think he's getting too cool for me.
Direct to camera style sometimes, Will. Does that rub you the wrong way?
Not everything needs to be super frenetic.
Yes, it does. God damn it.
Fair enough.
All right.
Fair enough.
The Broncos did sign Kareem Jackson. Another 1-year deal for Kareem the Dream. And
what everyone calls him.
Yep. And we've talked a lot about Kareem Jackson.
We love him.
It's great for depth, I think. I don't know if they're going to use him as like a full-time starter. But now the Broncos they don't have to reach for any position, right? They can take whoever they think's best at 64. They can wait a little bit, but safety was a little thin, and now you got your depth back. You've got a veteran player. You've got best safety, Justin Simmons. And you've got Caden Stearns coming up with a lot of potential. It's a nice mix back there.
Yeah, and it buys a little bit of time for Jamar Johnson, who they drafted last year.
That's right.
So
cool.
I think, Jamar Johnson ended up playing in 3 games last year. Didn't start at all. So he's not ready to just step in and become like he wouldn't be a starter, but a full-time package player. I guess that's kind of an oxymoron, but you can kind of work him into practice and then get him some reps in preseason and then work him onto the field. Maybe if there's an injury, he'll be good to go. But you didn't want to just roll in with a really unexperienced guy in a situation where you're going to use a lot of safeties and a lot of defensive backs.
Yeah.
But maybe they're just going to play Kareem Jackson at middle linebacker, which he'd probably be pretty good at.
Yeah.
He sort of plays linebacker sometimes anyway. Yeah. It's kind of crazy. He started as a corner, and now he's a box safety.
Yeah. And he's still little. He's still really undersized, but he's ferocious.
Yeah. He is the Rudy of our defense.
Yeah. Rudy.
Except he's good.
Yeah. Except he doesn't suck. My big takeaway from the movie Rudy is he sucked at football.
My big takeaway is that that was a star-making role for Vince Vaughn.
Oh.
I barely remember that movie, to be honest.
Yeah, it's probably one I need to I remember it enough. I think I need to probably rewatch it.
I think Swingers was more his star-making role, to be fair.
Vince Vaughn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Sean Astin went on to do The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, a long time after. Long time after.
What if they had Vince Vaughn in Lord of the Rings instead of Sean Astin, and he was like a 6'5" hobbit, but they digitally scaled him down?
Oh my God, that would be a great sketch.
They got the wrong Rudy actor.
Yeah.
I think I would pay to see that.
Yeah, I would too.
Somebody make that happen, please.
Please.
Just a Photoshop or something. Malik Reed also signed.
Yeah. So now you got a little depth at edge too.
Yeah, this goes to your point that they don't need to reach. They can draft I'm not even going to say the best player available. I'm going to say the greatest player available.
Yeah. Might be the fucking punter you want.
Matt Ariza.
Yes.
Yeah. I think, they don't even need a punter is the thing.
No, Sam Martin's like totally fine.
Solid. Yeah, he's solid. But I almost worry about Matt Ariza because in the thin air, it's like he's going to kick it into the stands.
He has a 10-second hang time. Imagine that.
Oh, he could just have a really cool hang time.
Dude, punt returns barely happen anyway. Punt returns and kick returns are dead, which sucks. Every time a punt return happens, it's a penalty.
Yeah.
And then one does happen and you're just waiting for a penalty and you're waiting and you can't even enjoy or be crushed by the punt return. Like if it's going against you, because you're like, it's coming back.
Yeah, no, there wasn't a punt return touchdown until December last year. It was obviously against the Packers. But that was unbelievable. Yeah, that's one of the things about the USFL is that they're tinkering with the rules and the formations to kind of bring back the kick return a little bit.
Yeah.
That's one of the cool things they're trying out. And we will have some USFL content coming, by the way.
USFL ball this weekend. That'll be
4 games.
Sports. I mean, the XFL was already doing that as well. And all the NFL has to do to make, I think, kickoffs relevant again is to just move the kickoffs back to where they used to be. They do it from the 35. Is that where kickoffs happen now?
Yeah, the 35-yard line.
They used to be the 25 or the 30.
The 30.
Yeah, just move it back to 5 yards so you get more kickoffs. You've removed like the wedge. You've taken some other safety things there. You can move up the kickoff unit so that, they're not doing the running starts or.
Yeah, that's what the USFL is doing. Well, they moved it back all the way to the 25.
Okay, that's why I was thinking 25.
And so now that, and the kicking teams are closer together.
Yeah.
Which is going to make it tougher, obviously, to have a return, but you're not going to have any touchbacks, probably kicking it from the 25.
There'll be more returns.
But harder to return.
More that don't go, but based on more chances of them actually happening, you're going to probably get a decent amount of them. So we'll see if that does anything. I liked kickoffs, I like punt returns. I'm a purist, though. I think quarterbacks should still play blindfolded like they did in the 60s.
I think, is that something they did?
Yeah, that's why they hand it off so much.
Oh, okay.
They're only allowed vision for one of their 4 downs.
Kind of really tips off your play to the defense.
You can still hand it off.
Yeah, it's like a reverse Terrell Davis in the Super Bowl. What was I gonna say?
I can't see, Mike. You don't need to see for this play. Such an epic line. We don't need you to see. Fuck yeah, Mike Shanahan.
What if instead of losing his eyesight in that game, he lost his hearing? And he was like, Mike, I can't hear. And he's like, well, you don't need to hear. And he's like, what?
No, then Mike just signs it to him.
Then Mike signs it to him.
And somehow Terrell Davis, even though he just lost his hearing, he understands sign language.
Just handoff motion. I'm sure sign language, that's what it is.
Yeah. I cut this from the worst draft day trades episodes, and I didn't want to, but I messed up saying Rick Mirer's name. You remember Rick Mirer?
Yeah, it's a tough name.
I always just thought it was Rick Mirer.
It should be.
Yeah, it didn't even register to me that it was Mirer. And I remember him because I had a football card of him.
He sucked.
Yeah, but he was like a big prospect, and he was super hyped up, and they made this cool football card. And I remember thinking the card was really cool. And then my friend was like, yeah, but that guy sucks now. And one of the worst trades, though, was so the Seahawks drafted Rick Mirer, like second or some shit. And he was bad quarterback.
Yes. He was supposed to be Joe Montana, essentially.
4 years later, though, they trade him to the Chicago Bears for their first round pick, even though he was already bad. And the Seahawks use that pick to get Sean Springs. Rick Mirer goes to the Bears, plays 7 games, and throws 0 touchdown passes.
Holy shit, you're right.
Yeah, like I did some more digging for that, and I was like, this is fascinating. But I fucked it up, and I was like, you know what? It was 1993 or 4 or 5 when maybe they traded back in 95.
The year that Meyer got traded, he threw 5 touchdowns and 12 interceptions
for Seattle.
And Chicago was like, "Yep, here's a first round pick."
Yeah.
This is like if Seattle gave up a first for Drew Lock.
No, it's like worse than that.
But it's worse. Yeah.
Because
I mean, you have to account for inflation in quarterback numbers.
Yeah. I think it'd be like giving up a first rounder right now for Josh Rosen.
Pretty much, which the Dolphins almost did. They gave up a second rounder.
They gave up a second. But I thought that was fascinating. That's like a team who thought they could save his career. They're like, he's just in the wrong place. We know how to use
let's
it.
send him to windy ass Chicago.
Yeah.
He'll get better there because you know how many good quarterbacks we've had here in Chicago.
Yeah.
All of them. And then the Seahawks took that pick and then packaged it in a trade with the Falcons, moved up to third overall, where they selected cornerback Sean Springs, who I just wrote about in our defensive back episode that's coming soon.
Right.
So it all kind of ties together.
Yeah.
The Balls Deep universe is expanding.
Balls Deep, the new show on That's Good Sports. No, it's funny. Like
Balls Deep.
When you're kind of researching this stuff and like you're just kind of looking at information that you forgot or haven't thought about for a long time. And you're right. Then all of a sudden there's like these dots that connect. So you're looking at all these draft picks and these teams trading. You're like, oh, I didn't remember like that's how they ended up with that player or things like that. So I saw Sean Springs referenced in your defensive backs episode. I was like, oh yeah, that's funny because I haven't thought about Sean Springs forever. And then he was the guy they used to get with that horrible trade. And then you brought up the Alfonso Smith trade parameters. I remember drafting him. I remember getting rid of him a year later, but I didn't recall Josh McDaniels giving up a first round draft pick to get
a second round pick
back into the second or just to
get into the second. Yeah.
Yeah.
He traded a first round pick for a second round pick. I don't know how this wasn't a bigger deal at the time.
Like you could do that now, but you would need you would give up your first to get in the second, but you would also get like another draft pick from that team, right? Oh, we're getting the third rounder too. Even then, you don't want to give up your first rounder.
It's a bad idea.
Whoever it was so stupid. And I thought I could feel your passion for how stupid you thought Josh McDaniels was in those parts. And I tried to deliver, but
I think one thing that I've learned is that, so you know how like players, they just get bigger, stronger, faster, as time goes on. It's kind of the same with GMs and front offices. Like they get smarter. Yeah. They get a lot smarter because like you just look at like teams are just drafting running backs first overall all the time. And like half of them were good. And the other half of them just totally flamed out. And we were trading first round picks for Rick Meyer and trading entire drafts for Ricky Williams. And I guess teams like you have to have those mistakes, I think, to learn. But man, it's just like a bunch of trial and error to get to where we are today, where every move feels so calculated. Yeah. And no one's like really going out on a huge limb.
Yeah. Nobody's getting taken advantage of, like over the top. Like maybe a team gives up a little too much and really hit. Like that's fine. Like the Falcons gave up a lot to get Julio Jones and it worked out for them. Did not work out for the Browns who got all those picks. But there's value charts, and that value chart was around though when Mike Ditka gave up everything to get Ricky Williams. Yep. He just wanted Ricky Williams.
He just had to have him. He was like, this is what I did in Chicago and this worked and we're going to do it again.
Yeah. And what blew my mind about that was everybody knew he was going to give up everything to get Williams. Yeah. So like Ed Werder wasn't even surprised when the Saints moved up and gave away everything. Like his reporting, he's just like, and actually this draft was the compensation was a little bit cheaper than many thought the Saints would have to give up to move here. I was like, what the fuck did he just say? Like he gave up less than they thought. And then Chris Berman.
The Bengals had a better deal.
Yeah. Chris Berman freaking, he nailed it. He was just, he was a little dumbfounded by it. And I forget his exact line, but I was like, man, he was so good. And yeah, the Bengals had the first offer, but they went for Akili Smith. Didn't work out for him. Actually, that was a really bad draft pick for the Bengals.
I would agree with you.
And
there.
Edgerrin James went before Ricky Williams, which I forgot.
Yeah, and that ended up being a pretty good pick.
Yeah.
Which is kind of bizarre in a way, but I mean, you don't think about that with like second or third overall?
Edgerrin James went 4. Ricky
Okay,
Williams
went
went 5.
Yeah, kind of weird because they had Marshall Faulk and they could have just kept Marshall Faulk, I suppose.
Yeah, they should have kept Marshall Faulk. And Edgerrin James was great. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer now, but Marshall Faulk was good. I didn't put in like the Jerome Bettis trade.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
There's a couple in there, and now teams are criticized if they just draft a running back top 10.
Yeah, you don't even have to trade up for him.
Oh.
I mean, the Broncos traded up in the second for Javonte Williams last year.
Yeah,
and people were like, "You guys are idiots."
Yeah.
And guess who's laughing now?
Us. Yeah.
I don't know why we're laughing, but
because Javonte Williams
we're just
be
satisfied.
So good. All right, I'm done talking. How about you, Will?
I'm done talking for the rest of the day. We'll take a vow of silence until Thursday.
Cool. That's tomorrow, Thursday. Okay, well, you made it through another podcast here. That's Good Broncos. Russell Wilson. Guns don't kill people.
Breaking my vow of silence. Russell Wilson kills people.
Vow of silence. Back on.